Welcome back to this video. We're going to be talking about George Mack Mental Models 101. In this video, we're specifically going to be talking about a systematic approach to take to make the rest of your 20s as miserable as possible. And hopefully, by using the inversion technique talked about in the previous video, and we're going to quickly summarize that, we can avoid all that stuff and then have success by just avoiding failure. So we're going to talk about the inversion technique quickly, give a brief summary, and then go into the clip. So this is the inversion technique. You take a problem you have, what would be the bad solution, like what would make it worse, and then how can I avoid that, and then that should give you the good solution. So kind of, how would I make a happy person sad? Well, you take away their sleep, take away their friends, take away meaning from their life, stick them in a dead-end job, and mess with the nutrition. And by avoiding those things, you can kind of you'd be happier. Like, it's a way of rephrasing it so that you can get a different view and perspective on the issue. So I'm gonna roll a clip and it's gonna talk about how to live the best 20s or whatever period of life you're really in, but just adjust it to that. Anyways.
So I was thinking, like, as I did on like a Sunday evening, just like reviewing stuff, because I'm 25 next month. So I'm like almost 50% away through my 20s. I'm like, what do I want the rest of my 20s to look like? And that was just one of those overwhelming questions, like, what I couldn't answer. So I was like, what do I definitely not want to go to? So hold on, because I wrote this down on my phone. Let me get it up. So I was thinking, like, what mistakes do I see people make in their 20s, and what, like, could I actively go out and avoid? So the 7 that I came up with was, like, number 1, to avoid comfort in your 20s. Because if you're comfortable in your 20s, then you're just, like, absolutely screwed. 2, like, hanging around or working with people who I don't admire. 3, doing easy things and, like, avoiding building, like, career moats that you can just compound and iterate off the back off. 4, neglecting or, like, abusing your health. 5, gaining liabilities and debt. 6, toxic relationships. 7, feedbackless environments. And I realized if I avoid all of those 7, no matter what I do, if I just keep on focusing avoiding all those 7, it's almost impossible to fail, because by the very nature, these are all the things that's going to lead to failure. So instead of just setting some goal where I want to earn X or I want to be ABC, I'm just focusing on avoiding those 7.
So I know not all my viewers are in their 20s, some range into their 30s and 40s, but anyways, avoid comfort. Yeah, your 20s is a period where you go out, discover, and should have the ability to try new things without risk, and have the risk of failure be low enough that it's not really something you need to necessarily worry about. You don't have a family to support. You don't have people you necessarily need to take care of. As long as you can provide for yourself, you can go out and fail and try again and fail and try again. And even you can take one step further. In your 20s, you can still, it's more socially acceptable to rely upon your family, to still live at home, to still be in your childhood home. And this would allow you to try new things and put your effort all the way into them and try even more riskier things that have higher potentials of paying off. Because if you fail, you're not homeless. You don't have to worry about next month's rent. You just have to kind of like get enough money for gas and groceries, which is honestly pretty easy to do when you don't have to cover rent. Next thing, avoiding people you don't admire. Look at your friends, look at who you're spending time with. Would you want your kids to be like them? Is that how you want to turn out? If you're not hanging out with people that actually inspire you and that you would want to be like, you're being an idiot, because you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with most. And as I always say, if you hang out with Netflix more than anyone else, then you have to put Netflix as a person. If you hang out with YouTube more than someone else, you put YouTube as a person. So some people have there are 5 people they hang out with the most, that they're the sum of, would be like Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and, like, I don't know, Twitter, or X now. And each one of those things, you have to look at the content you're watching on it. So not only don't hang out with people you don't admire, don't watch videos that don't inspire you, don't watch videos that you wouldn't want to act like the people in those videos act. Avoid the easy path. So don't go out of your way to avoid the easy paths, because sometimes you can make life harder, but definitely, like, focus on pushing yourself, seeing what you're made of, testing yourself. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to take the hardest path at every point. That's kind of like the David Goggins approach that we talked about earlier. But there, you can have fun and do work. Don't seek necessarily to put yourself and create issues that don't exist, but doing things that challenge yourself, such as running a marathon, ice baths, sticking to a workout routine, a diet, having some goal that challenges you and isn't easy, is definitely something you should do so you can find out more about yourself. Neglect your health. A lot of people do this. Your health is the most valuable asset you have. If you cannot work because you're too sick, like that right there, your whole life's messed up because you lost your production ability and your ability to add value to others. So you're just kind of be seen as a parasite. But if you neglect your health, like over time, you're gonna get cancer. You're gonna save up all this money, and then at the end of your life, your health is gonna be so bad, you're gonna trade all that money you thought you were gonna use for traveling, and you're gonna trade that for a couple more years of life and a little less pain, because drinking that coffee, drinking those energy drinks, smoking, all these things we do to focus ourselves, blowing off sleep, blowing off social engagements, like skipping the gym. Yeah, this can make you more money in the short term, but in the long term, your health is going to suffer significantly. Gaining liabilities and debt. So part of this gaining liabilities and debt is, like, I don't know, our kids' liabilities. I mean, there's something that burdens you down, and if you're not ready for them or understanding what they actually are going to do to your life, you might like find them as a burden, and you probably want to avoid that until you're ready, until you know what it's like. I mean, I'm an uncle, and I spend hours helping my brother with his kids, and each week, and it's like, you think they're easy, but they're really not. Like, it's surprisingly difficult to have kids because it's something that you always have to be on. You never have a moment to yourself. They always want to be around you. And if they don't get to be around you, they cry their heads off. So, like, I don't know, help out a couple you know that has kids. Like, actually know what you're getting into, because a lot of people, pregnancy is just something that kind of like happens, and they're like, oh well, I guess we're having kids now, or well, we got married, so now it's time to have a baby. Like, you can't, don't just follow the path that your parents followed. Consciously choose and be aware of what your decisions are going to bring. And yeah, protected sex, guys. Toxic relationships. So get rid of people that drain your energy, because if you don't, you're just losing energy down the road. It's a simple one. Like, if you have, it sucks because like sometimes these people are your friends for years, but their life's not going anywhere. But like, this was still like your really good friend for many years. I would just say, like, limit your exposure. Like, don't let his problems necessarily become yours, because you can't help anyone before you help yourself. Like, that's something people need to realize is, if you don't take care of yourself, if your health is so bad that you can't get out of bed, you can't help anyone. Like, you need to put yourself first to some degree, and by doing that, it's also like lead by example. I think it was Saint Agnesio or something, but he talked about how like one person living a saintly, or like living a good life, will save. I'm gonna find the quote. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so the quote is by Saint Anthony and says, "One holy man can save 1,000 sinners." And to me, what this means is, like, you can't necessarily make your friends change. You can't make other people in your life change. But what you can do is you can improve your life. You can work on yourself. You can become the best example that you can be. And through people seeing how much you changed, how much you've improved, you can inspire others to do the same. And only after you reach a certain point, other people will be like, oh, wow, like, I can, I want to do that too. Like, I don't know, David Goggins didn't try to like get people to man up and be tougher by like going around and making sure everyone can do like 100 push-ups or something. He like did all these amazing things, and those amazing things inspired like a whole generation to go out and kill themselves physically in terms chasing mental toughness. I mean, it's not necessarily the best thing in that example, but like, it's still better than people not knowing what they're made of. Like, he alone was able to live his life to such a high degree that it inspired thousands, if not millions, of other people to at least add a little bit of discomfort back into their own lives. I mean, Joe Rogan's inspired countless men. Jordan Peterson has inspired so many, and they didn't focus on like trying to get everyone around them to fix. What they did is they fixed their own lives, and then people saw their lives, and it's like, oh wow, you have it really together. I bet if I follow some of the stuff you talk about, I can get there too. And that way, they're like looking for it. They're looking for ways to improve. Anyways, toxic relationships. Okay, yeah, feedback-less environments. So don't work in environments that don't give you instruction. I mean, it's kind of like karate versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where in karate, if you don't have sparring, you're not getting feedback on actually how good you are. Like, it doesn't matter how good your practice high kick, or I don't really know about karate much, but like, it doesn't matter what you can hit in practice. What matters is the actual feedback of what you can hit against another person when they're trying to stop you. And that gives you such great feedback. Make sure like you're getting feedback on how your performing is if you have a job from your boss. Like, how can I improve? How can I do better? I once had a job, and at the time, my communication skills weren't as good. My boss talked to me about this. He's like, yeah, I just thought you could communicate more with me. So what I did is, at the end of every single day, I took a picture of what I did. I sent him like 1 or 2 sentences, and just gave him a running timeline of what I was doing. And it was amazing for me because it got him off my back. Like, I had so much more freedom, like so much more ability to do stuff, and it gave him an accurate understanding of where I was relative to the projects that he wanted me to get done. So there's no blindsiding. There's no like meeting where I was like, I didn't do what I was supposed to, because he knew exactly where I was at, and I'd give him updates, and then he'd be like, oh well, you might be a little bit behind, and I want you to prioritize this over this, so that it gives you more clarity to it. But you need feedback. I mean, in order to grow, you need people to either self-reflect and give yourself feedback, or you need other people to give you feedback. It takes a lot to self-reflect, and I highly recommend doing it through a meditation practice, but it is easier to get others to give you feedback on the way you perform yourself. I mean, a lot of people pay for this through coaching. Anyways, this is a quick video I did about how to live your 20s better, and really you can apply most of this stuff to a lot of your life. I mean, maybe gaining liabilities and debt, and you do want, at least I personally want to start a family, but some things are good to do, some things are bad to do. Taking the easy path is almost never good, but don't make it harder than it has to be. And if you are making it harder than it has to be, at least admit that that's what you're doing, so you're consciously aware of it. So like taking a cold shower versus a hot shower, you're admitting that you're doing this for the mental hardness. Like, if you have a deadline to do, like, don't look for the hard path to like get the deadline done. Anyways, just don't be autistic about this. Like, so there's so many times wherein I'll like hear some advice and I'll just like run off autistically applying it to everything without caring anything for nuance. And I say autistically because it's literally autistic the way I do it. And I've been asked if I am autistic by people when I do stuff like this. And yeah, so anyways, question if I'm autistic or not, I haven't been tested. But like, there are subtleties behind things. Applying the same like measures blindly is stupid. Reflect upon the things you're doing. Anyways, there's going to be a playlist over here. I'm going to full size this. There's going to be a playlist over here of other videos by George Mack on the channel that I've broken down. And those are actually going really well. So if you like these videos, subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll continue to make more. You can subscribe to the channel right here and drop a comment. Am I missing anything? What do you think about the points up here for the habits? Do you think necessarily skipping out and avoiding these pitfalls is guaranteeing success? Or let me know your thoughts. I'll address those in a couple of videos, and yeah, peace out.